My wife came into the room and said my name right after I had heard a knock at the door, and I'm a little jumpy as a sleeper anyway, so I sat up in bed after hearing a knock at the door and hearing my wife say my name, and I immediately thought, my mind popped with the idea that my parents were here for a visit. Now, if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, if this is your first exposure to me, my dad died of colon cancer in 2016, and my mother died of pancreatic cancer about a month and a half ago. And the idea that they had come to visit around the holidays seems kind of like a logical jump in one's subconscious. However, knowing that they were both dead and blinking away the sleepiness of that really struck a weird chord in me, and it's still kind of like this reverberation inside. What was at the door, however, sadly not the smiling faces of my parents, is in fact a very meaningful thing to me. And to explain, keep looking up were my dad's last words to me, and some of you might already know that. You probably heard the story. On his deathbed, he said, "Keep looking up, bud." And the other thing he said was to keep pursuing my dreams. He said that he did not understand them, but he did not want me to stop seeking them. See, my dad said the last few years that he was alive were the only years he felt alive. He grew up in a very harsh environment, place where everyone was told that if they did not have their hair cut just so, if they did not wear a certain style of clothing, if they did not believe exactly the way that their parents believed, they were not going to make it to heaven. They were not going to get anywhere good when they died. And that is a strange thought to me, having been exposed to the love of Jesus Christ and the love of the Judeo-Christian New Testament Bible, the loving ideal. He suffered a great deal in a strange way under a very rigid upbringing. But near the end of his life, after he had done everything that was expected of him, after earning lots of money, after working months and years, dedicating himself to being the best at his chosen profession, on his deathbed, he said, "The last few years are the only years that I've really felt alive." And the last few years that he was alive, he was a missionary to Scotland. And what my mom and dad went to do was show love. They went to Scotland to show love. They opened up a tea shop where you could, for free, get photos of your family, drink tea, and make friends. They opened a little social hub in Scotland to show love to people. If you could not afford to go to an official photo studio to get a family portrait, my dad and mom would give it to you for free in exchange for a chat, a few minutes to talk. And that was his life for the last few years. That was his job and his goal. There was no 40-hour week, 80-hour week, 4-hour work week. There was nothing like that. He simply dedicated himself to his dream, to his calling, to love people, and hoped and prayed and ate faith that it would come back to him. And it did. Then he got cancer, and then he lasted again. I called him the deathbed evangelist. I made a joke that he literally could not die yet, because every time he was on his deathbed and someone said, "You will not make it this time," he did. And then, of course, that led me to kind of delusionally believe that he was not ever going to die. And when he did, my world kind of came apart in spring of 2016. We went to his funeral for a Valentine's rendezvous, me and my wife. Just like our wedding day was actually the day after he was diagnosed with cancer. And there's a lot of love paired up with a lot of suffering in that way. And I think that is important for me to recognize as the person that's lived this life. It may not mean anything to you, I totally understand, but for me, love and suffering do kind of go hand in hand. That being said, after 2016, I was given the opportunity to make a living off of professional wrestling. And that kind of leads into this. Love and suffering. Living and hurting. Trying to find new ways to make things work. Failing over and over. But knowing that there is something important right in front of you, right here, that you simply cannot escape. There is something important, I believe, in my heart for all of us to know. And this t-shirt literally in my head has been called by me 1,000 times during the design process, ordering process, and now the unboxing process as the meaning of everything. To me, this is the meaning of everything. This rat is abused, he's scarred, he's broken, he's twisted, he's torn, he's wiry, he's angry, he has anxiety, he has panic, he has everything that I have, and he is misunderstood. You can heap everything you want on this rat, this disliked and unloved being, with his broken tail and his ragged flesh and his snapped snout. You can put every problem you've ever had in the circumference of this rat. And this rat is very tired. This rat is very tired of the rat race. He is tired of seeking the cheese at the end of the maze. He is exhausted and undone by a world that does not make sense. The rat on this t-shirt and the back of this hoodie has realized, as I have, that running mazes and seeking rewards from a worldly place, from this world, from this place, from this style of existence, from this economy, from the companies that I've worked for in the past, there is nothing worthwhile at the end of those mazes. There is nothing worth enough to make me keep running these mazes, to keep suffering in mazes, to keep hurting myself. You see, my employment during my dad's suffering said right before he died that I was not allowed to go and help him set his affairs in order, nor was I allowed to go to his funeral because I did not have the PTO, because I had used it for professional wrestling purposes. Now that may sound crazy, but that was my secondary living. That was my backup job. That was my passion. So what my real job told me was that I was not allowed to leave. I was not allowed to care for my father, and I was not allowed to say goodbye. And something inside me simply snapped. From then on, I have not been traditionally employed. I have not been working in a maze. Since then, I have not been employed in a traditional sense. I have been self-employed, hunting and grinding and working on new ways to produce income for my family, for my wife and 2 daughters. I love them with all my heart, and I would do anything it took to make them smile, to make them feel secure. This is a way that I can do that. This is a way that I can honor my dad's last wishes for me, which were to seek out a new way of living, following my dreams. This hoodie and this t-shirt are literally an embodiment of what my dad and my mom wanted for me. I am strange, and I am meant to be strange, and I am not meant to run the rat race, nor try to find my way in a maze. I am not here to play or be lost or to hurt for others' gain. If I make $1, or if I make $10, or I make $50, I earn it for me and my family. That is especially meaningful to me, and I am so thankful. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to have things like this. This changes my life and it blows my mind. And every time one sells, every time I take it from my hand and put it in someone else's, that reaffirms my parents' wishes inside me, and that reaffirms my belief in myself. And that, my friends, is my story. And my current place in this crazy, unrefined, lost and confused world that I find myself in. I have no security in the traditional human sense. My wife's working 2 jobs right now and killing herself, but she's pursuing her artistic passion as well. She is making a living. She is changing her own life, and God has blessed it exponentially. She is amazing. And I, through things like this, want to feel the same. So please consider, if you can, if you have the time, please consider going to chainsaw.tv, clicking the store button, and picking up one of these hoodies. It literally changes my life and my family's life when you do. I appreciate your time, guys and ladies, fam and friends. You who watched this, you who listened, you who care, really do mean the whole world to me. And I believe I am here on this earth, as crazy it may seem, to help love, to help care for, and to help be there for you as well. You are my calling. Pro wrestling and writing and social media is all just a byproduct of my goal, which is to love and care for and help you, whoever you are, where you are, no matter what. I hope this doesn't seem like some kind of strange brand endorsement where I'm trying to sell you on some program where I can change your life. I can't change your life. I believe the everything on these t-shirts, this everything, I believe it sitting right in front of the rat can. The symbolism of it is there are no walls in the way of everything that we really need. There are no walls and there is no maze preventing us from finding our true purpose. We are choosing to be in these mazes. We are choosing to be in the rat race, and sometimes it seems like there is no choice. I get it. I understand. There seems like nothing but madness and poverty and suffering outside of the race. I get it. I do. But there are choices. There are options. We can change our world together. Our lives, if shared, if opened, if blossomed together, we can change everything. We can change everything. We just have to believe and take the first step together. Take a step with me right now, today. And with that, I thank you very much. I, you, we must simply be. Keep looking.